Javier was a man born and raised in Mexico who was very patriotic about his country. He and his brother Antonio were both very similar to each other, sharing many beliefs and hobbies, and one thing they also shared was a haunting. Over the past year, they had both been occupying the same house, and both of them believed that something weird was going on. According to both brothers, things would reportedly move alone, and mysterious noises would echo around the house, nothing that any of them wanted. However, at the peak of these hauntings, something terrible happened. An amazing brotherly bond was broken when Antonio passed away. The doctors had no idea what ended his life, and the only intel was that he was found lying in the basement. They simply pinned it down to old age. Regardless of the reason, Javier now had to face their hardships by himself and just prayed that Antonio would be able to obtain a spiritual form and help him out. He had no idea what would happen, and all he could do was wait and find out for himself. During the hauntings whilst Antonio was still living, Javier didn't recall any physical apparitions, and the fact that he was starting to see them now was rather concerning. The first one seemed to be that of an animal, likely a cat, and it quickly darted across the corridor out of sight. The second one, though, was much more terrifying. It was the figure of a human, and it towered taller than the door frame. This one was in view for a bit longer than the cat, before fading into the shadows. None of these apparitions can be explained to this day. With the introduction of apparitions, Javier was very quick to sell the house. He moved in with his best friend, so he didn't have to sleep knowing that demons were staring at him. But a few days later, he wanted to observe the spirits one last time. He spent roughly $200 on cameras with decent quality and made sure that they covered every angle of the building. Here is some of the movement that they managed to detect.
Se puede ver claro como una figura desdibujada se presenta en la...
Strangely, a select few furniture items started to move as they wished, and it was safe to say that Javier did not regret leaving the facility. It is known that no one has yet purchased the house, and he will struggle very much to find a buyer whilst it has the haunted label on it. If Javier conducts any more research, I'll be sure to include the clips on one of these videos, so subscribe to not miss it. Now, the following sentence that is about to leave my mouth has been said countless times on this channel, and I am certain it needs to be emphasized again. Dolls are by far the most disturbing and haunted objects on the entire planet. For some strange reason, though, parents continue to funnel all of their money into huge doll collections for their kids, and some of them actually end up paying the price. That was the case for the father in the piece of content you're about to see, Ronald, and it is likely that he will never purchase another doll for his children after such a horrible sequence of incidents.
Yeah, I swear to head's moving. What the f... No. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And it looked like something went across the screen. Holy shit.
From moving its body parts as if it was a human being all the way to making disturbing whimpers, whatever was controlling this doll was on a mission to freak out this innocent father. In response to all of this weirdness, he decided to quickly put the doll into a bag and drive it all the way to the tip for its burning. And fortunately, it did not find its way back, despite this being his fear. In the following video, two workers in a small store were discussing their recent problems. The main problem they had to cover was the fact that the store's revenue had dropped by $300 in a singular month, which was obviously a lot of money. In response to this, they came up with the conclusion to lower the prices around the store and were about to start brainstorming when something very out of the ordinary happened. Both workers explained that this event was so odd that they were terrified to tell people in fear that they would be deemed crazy. Regardless, they followed through and published this footage to the internet.
Hacemos este video porque estábamos yo y Anaís ahorita sentados platicando de la pesca. Cuando de repente el aparador de tostitos se sacudió de una forma fuerte. Se habían caído las cosas, habíamos escuchado ruidos atrás, allá en el baño, pero nunca se había sacudido un aparador o algo así.
Ya van varios días que está pasando esto y, ay, la verdad, pues sí está de miedo. Pues como ven, se mira una tienda normal, pero no es una tienda normal. Oh my God, otra vez.
¿Grabaste eso?
Sí.
¿Estás grabando?
Sí, estoy grabando.
No te acerques mucho.
No sabemos qué es, pero...
No te acerques mucho. Vete para acá.
Oh my God!
Somehow, a bag of chips fell to the floor immediately after their conversation ended, and the female worker went to investigate. Understandably, she just assumed that something must have shook to cause them to collapse, but moments later, things became unexplainable. The bag moved itself whilst on the floor. To this day, none of the workers can explain what happened that day, and they both claim that they didn't feel any kind of presence in the room. Does this event truly have any scientific explanation, or was it what we all believe it to be? A ghost? Let me know what you think in the comments. On February the 22nd of 2012, Dwayne decided that he was going to confront the spirit that had been terrorizing him and his family for 2 months straight. Slowly, over time, strange things started to happen in their house, and it progressively got more and more serious, with the most recent incident being a knife getting launched across the kitchen. This knife almost hit Dwayne's daughter, so he decided he was finally going to attempt communication. He could not be bothered forking out money for a Ouija board though, so attempted a different method. Take a look.
Are you evil? Is that a yes or a no? If you're evil, flick the light again. Okay. Whoa.
Surprisingly enough, the spirit actually complied with Dwayne and chose to answer his question to a somewhat honest degree. Instead of lying to him and playing as a casual spirit, it made its intentions clear, and this was odd, to say the least. With this newfound information, Dwayne knew that this was not something suitable for a family household, and drove off to the local church to seek assistance. It was while he was there that the cameras in that same room caught an eventful piece of footage. He was very fortunate that his wife was home to hear all of this commotion, because she was smart enough to quickly spectate the room from the cameras whilst recording it. This footage was not revolutionary, since whatever was in their house moved stuff all the time, but it was nice to have finally documented it and helped a lot in the family's progress of blessing the house, which for your information they have completed. Now this next clip is quite a short one compared to the other ones on the channel, but believe me, there is a lot to talk about from it. It happened extremely late at night at around 2 in the morning and traumatized the victim for life. The event happened 7 years ago, and Alex, the human on the receiving end of the haunting, still keeps his bedroom door open at all times to date, wondering why he has taken things this far. Well, have a watch for yourself.
What the f-
Or maybe you probably don't know, but the reason why the door stays open is because of the carpet. And lately I've been sleeping with this closet door right here open because I don't want... What the... What the...
Now, if you had your device at low brightness there, then you probably struggled to notice what actually went on. Alex heard a noise from his bedroom door, so he decided to get up and open it to see what had caused it. To his dismay though, nothing was there, at least at first. Moments later, an unsettling figure with no face at all peeked around the door into Alex's room, and understandably, he feared for his life and ran back. On June the 12th of 2023, Sunny was in her house minding her own business when an unexplainable sequence of events decided to strike her. These events were so disturbing and extraordinary that Sunny had no idea how to explain them, and you likely won't either. Have a watch.
Please go away. Please go away. You're not wanted. Go away. Whatever you are, go away. Oh my God. I am so scared right now. Please go away. It can't be spooky. Spooky? Psst, 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 psst. Spook? Moo?
For some reason, some peculiar noises could be heard from the other side of the door, and of course Sunny decided to start recording. As she did this, the shadows in the room started to move in an odd pattern, and the door continued to open and close itself. Something was wrong. Thinking logically, she called for her cats in case they were causing all of this, but none of them came to her. Not to mention that when she looked to her left, the cats were sitting right there. Whatever this was, it was likely a spirit, and Sunny fears that room to this day, keeping it forever blocked. Dreams, one of the most interesting things on the entire planet. Not even the most knowledgeable of scientists can explain the purpose of dreaming, and all humans can do is theorize what they truly are. Regardless of those answers though, they are besides the point. Dreams come in many forms, from nightmares all the way to lucid. And in the following video, the dream described by Lexi was definitely a mix from both of those things.
I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm very fucking shook. I'm about to go to my mom's. I had the fucking creepiest thing just happen to me. So I've never had a dream like this before. And then what happened after is just fucking, I'm about to fucking puke. Like, I actually was like hyperventilating and I had to fucking run out of my apartment because I'm fucking scared. I could tell I was lucid because I can control what was happening and everything was fine. I was like laughing. I guess I was like on Love Island or something. I don't know. We were all laughing, right? So like me and like all the Love Island cast or whatever the fuck. It was just a bunch of random people, right? And we were supposed to be on Love Island. I already said that, but I'm sorry, I'm flustered. So anyways, we were laughing, ha ha ha, everything's fine. I got good vibes, and all of a sudden, they all look at me and they're just lifeless. Like there's like at least like 30 people in the room, okay? And they all look at me and they're like this. And I got the most sick feeling. And all of a sudden, for some reason, I was wearing this cross in my dream. And that has never happened before. And all of a sudden, I could, like, in my dream, I go like this. And I start to grip my cross. And I'm just like, and then the person that I was talking to, he goes, "Why are you doing that?" And he was just like, "Why are you scared?" And then this is where I knew it was demonic. Because just basically saying that God doesn't exist. He was like, "What do you think he's gonna do for you? Like, you think God even exists? You think he's and just," I hate saying that, but he was just starting, I was like, this is evil. And so I grabbed my cross and I backed up and I was like, this is evil. Like, this is fucking evil. And I knew it was the devil because in the beginning, it gave me everything that I wanted. Like, okay, so I was on Love Island, right? But it gave me like fame, money, and like just every single temptation that you can think of. And I was like, oh my God, like it gave the devil, whatever was haunting me in that dream, it gave me everything that I wanted. And then it was gonna tell me at the end that God didn't exist. And I've never like been able to grip this cross in my dream. And I just backed up and then I started praying to God, and then I felt myself being lifted up, like lifted, and everything just disappeared. And I just felt myself like my whole dream just disappearing and me being lifted up. So anyways, I was like, oh my God, like I've never had such a spiritual dream like that. And I was like, that was a test. That was a demon. Because nothing has ever tried to denounce the name of the Lord in any type of dream. So anyways, I went in the kitchen because I was so fucking terrified. And I just said, I rebuke anything in the name of Jesus that is not meant to be in this house. I rebuke anything. And I was like, I was strong and firm, and I got chills all over my body. Right after I said that, I heard 3 knocks on my front door, and I looked outside. Nobody was fucking there. It was late, okay? It was fucking late. And so after that, I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, whatever I casted out of my house was like, it got casted out. And like, it was like trying to come in my house, but it got casted out.
Demons entering the minds of humans is not a new thing, and reports of this happening have been filed loads. However, the manner in which this one denied God to Lexi's face left her traumatized and completely convinced that this was a test from Satan. Her story ended after she escaped the house, but this wasn't all we would hear from Lexi. In fact, we were only just getting started because just one day later, after re-entering her home, she captured something wild on camera.
Got the cutest little samples yesterday.
She was 100% certain that she was the only person home at the time. The following video took place in Sam's house, a small YouTuber who works part-time at his local fast food restaurant. The clip begins at 2 a.m. and Sam was in bed until he was woken up by a very strange sequence of knocking. Now at first, Sam genuinely thought that someone was at the door, but this theory was about to be blasted out of the window. Take a look.
There's been someone knocking at my front door for the last 10 minutes or so, and they haven't stopped knocking. Hello? Who's there?
Randomly, the door started knocking in a pattern of 3, and what made this event odd for Sam is that it didn't stop. Whoever was behind that door really wanted to be let inside, and after some preparation, Sam opened the door. However, after scanning the outside area, nothing could be seen. Immediately, he slammed both of the doors shut and locked them, but then something even weirder happened.
What's going on here? Somebody's playing games and it's not funny. Are you kidding me?
No matter how many times Sam opened the doors, he was unable to catch whoever was doing this knocking. Sam believed it to be a teenager playing tricks on him and decided to gear up and go outside, but even after 20 minutes of searching, no one could be found. Was this a horror coincidence, or was it really a spirit ruining Sam's sleep? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The house in the upcoming video had recently been purchased and moved into by Leah and her family. Prior to this house, they had been renting a house in a very dodgy area, and they decided to move out to provide a better life for their children. At least they thought it would provide a better life. The following footage was captured using an iOS camera setup in the top corner of the room, and what it filmed was truly shocking. Despite closing the drawer and being sure that no one else was in the kitchen, Leah found out something horrible that evening. Since the drawer managed to open itself for a second time, she discovered that the house was haunted and quickly sprinted out of the place. At first, her boyfriend thought she was insane and tried to calm her down, but Leah was lucky that she remembered the iOS camera. Straight after the incident, she showed the footage to her boyfriend, and he too thought it was very fishy. However, there was nothing either of them could do. They were too poor to buy another house so fast, and this forced them to call the haunted location home. On November 15th of 2023, 3 people were on shift in a school office. Their roles were to make sure that the school was running smoothly and any children who came to them had their problems solved. Little did any of the staff know, though, that on this day they would be helping a new student, if that's what you could call it. It was roughly 2 p.m. and lunch break had just finished, so the corridors were quiet again, but the office definitely wasn't.
I mean, that was clear though. Like, that was super clear.
It was good.
You think it's funny? Yeah. Stop it. And then the freaking phone rings.
As odd as this might have been, the ghost sighting here actually made a lot of sense. Just 2 months before this incident, a student at the school had tragically died, and they happened to be a little girl. This little girl always visited the office and told jokes to the staff, as she had trouble socializing with people. The workers believed that the spirit trying to communicate with them here was the girl, and this left them feeling happy and disturbed at the exact same time. With the information on who the ghost was, the staff felt confident that it wasn't here to cause any harm and simply wanted to stay where it enjoyed most of its time. And with this confidence, they started to test its abilities. Just 3 days after the initial sighting, student service operator James Hill decided to take the ghost into a storage unit and see if the ghost could move a few things for him.
Do it again. Fuck, I'm shaking. Jesus Christ. Come on. You can do it. Move it. Come on, move it. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Stop. Stop. Move it. Come on. Can you knock it down? You can knock it down. Come on. Y'all, it... Shit. Come on. Y'all, that box is fucking moving. I can't even fucking say this right. Come on. Stop. Nope. 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 We're done. We're done.
Strangely, despite all of the staff thinking James wouldn't capture anything, the ghost actually followed him to the storage room and did as he pleased. After being prompted to, it moved around a little box, and eventually, after some persuasion, it threw the box to the ground. James claimed this encounter increased his confidence that the spirit was of the little girl, because she was usually scared and nervous when doing troublesome things in school. This concludes why it took her so long to push the box onto the floor. For the past couple of months, house owner John Gregson had supposedly been hearing strange noises coming from his basement, and one day he decided it was time to investigate. When his family first moved into the house, John terraformed this room into a playroom for his daughter, and she loved it. But recently she wasn't down there as much, and he couldn't pinpoint whether she was getting too old or there was a much deeper cause.
Oh my. What are you doing there? Who are you?
I got you good.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, you got my heart good.
As John exited the playroom with confidence that his daughter had pranked him, the lights turned themselves off, and the globe on the stairs jumped across them. This was completely unexplainable since no one else was down there, at least no regular person. What made this incident even stranger was what the audience thought of it when John uploaded it to social media. Quite a few comments suggested that the girl could possibly have been possessed when she claimed she tricked John, which disturbed him very much. He immediately went to get the entire Gregson family baptized and called it a day. None of them recorded any paranormal footage after this event, so it's assumed that the ghost has officially become detached. After being haunted for several years, the following family's house had been blessed by a priest, and supposedly everything was okay again. However, still skeptical, the mother and father deployed cameras in every single room as a just-in-case protocol, so if something else did happen, they had proof, and proof they got.
Willow, I already brushed your hair. Hey, how did this open?
I don't know.
Did you open it?
No.
Let's look at the camera.
Wait, did I? Oh, right. Remember I opened it to get a hanger? Did I?
This morning?
Yeah. When you were there.
When we
I
left.
read a book that was funny. It was called Bunny Cakes. And it was a grandma's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And a mom, there was two bunnies.
Okay.
They're making a cake.
Okay.
And a girl.
Okay.
Bunnies.
Willow, what is this?
What is what?
Oh, it opened on its own.
Wait, can I see what opened on its own? What opened on its own?
How did that do?
That what opened on its own? I want to see that.
Your shirt's on backwards, honey.
That I want to see it. Show
Put
me.
your shirt's on backwards.
Can you
Okay.
see it? The closet opened by itself.
Oh, I want to see that closet
But
open.
why did it happen, Willow?
I don't know.
That show me again. I want to see it.
I'm kind of, I don't know. Perplexed.
As wisely stated by the little girl named Willow, the entire family was perplexed, and so am I. It's very unlikely that a closet built like the one on screen could swing open without anyone causing it to, leading me to believe that this was the return of the spirit that had haunted them for such a long time. Since the Gregson family had experienced this before, they went to the church again and asked the priest to come to their house and personally rid the spirit, to which he did, with success. For the past 2 years, no one in the house has heard any strange noises or witnessed any out-of-the-ordinary events, and they finally live in peace. But who knows, potentially the ghost could return a third time, and even worse, it could become stronger. In the following video, a devoted Christian by the name of Chief decided to document his paranormal experience for the world to see. Since the solar eclipse, Chief had been hearing intense knocking coming from the exact same door, and in the upcoming clip, he tries to combat it.
It's just really been tripping me out. It's been doing this since the solar eclipse, I would say. And I don't really believe in ghosts. But this shit is really fucking with me. Look at this. It just stops. There ain't nothing going on. Look. What the fuck? What the actual Bro, there's no way. Wait, I'm gonna leave the light on. What the fuck? Shit's really freaking me out, y'all. If you've ever seen anything like this before, please let me know. Alright, so I've been taking some of you guys' advice. I got my holy water right here. I'm gonna insert the holy water into my water gun. Alright. And I got I'll just put it in the thing. I got the cross like you guys said, dude. I didn't really have any real wood, but see, the thing is, I don't even know if I'm actually hitting my op. Like, I feel like it's coming from over here. It don't do it when the door is closed. Like, it does not do it. I look stupid as fuck. Oh my God. I need to get out the house.
Somehow, despite clearing the entire room for any hiding people, no one was discovered, and Chief was left clueless as to who was doing the knocking. When he found out no one was behind the door, he turned to Snapchat and asked his friends what he should do, and they came up with a pretty strong plan. He was going to fill up his water gun with holy water and use pencils to form a cross at the back of it. With his friends being his only hope, Chief listened to them and shot the ghost in the bathroom. However, after this moment, the banging only got worse, and people speculate that the holy water only made the ghost more angry.
Y'all see it though, right? Y'all see that though, right?
After the banging intensified, Chief bolted the door to the wall in hope that the noise would stop completely, but that didn't happen. The ghost just infinitely knocked on the outside of the door instead of from the inside, which forced him to move house entirely. The ghost didn't follow Chief to his new home, but it was definitely a surreal experience to say the least. The following video took place in a Dutch apartment which hosted a university student. The student was renting the apartment so she had somewhere to stay that was local to her studies. However, she had no idea what would come from calling this place home. On her second night, she was relaxing in the living room, watching television, when one of the creepiest events of her life happened.
What the fuck is that?
Strangely, despite scanning the room for someone, she failed to find a culprit and ran out in fear. But this wasn't the scariest part. As she stared at the doorway, anticipating some more supernatural stuff to happen, a dark figure peeked round the door, and she ran without any hesitation. Now it's impossible to understand what the motive of this spirit was, but if it was to scare the girl, it definitely succeeded. She left the property 2 weeks later and went to live in a university dorm room instead. It was 2 p.m. in the afternoon in the Adams household, and the entire family was out as the parents were granted a day off work. They were planning to visit the park together for a few hours to gain some bonding time, but little did they know they didn't bring everyone with them, despite the whole family being in the car. Confused? I'll let the security footage do the explaining. Weirdly, the metal chair fell to the floor and started dragging itself along by itself. This was very odd, since no one was present in the building, and no natural force could possibly make something like this happen, especially since the windows were definitely closed. After receiving a notification that something was in their house, the father quickly checked his phone and was left stumped. They never witnessed anything close to this ever again. After sneaking onto an inactive plane at night, young adult Tyler expected to get into a lot of trouble in the case that he got caught. He was prepared to pay fines and be on his way, but he had no idea of the true magnitude of danger he was putting himself in, and it wasn't because of the plane. You see, it was inactive for a reason, but not a reason you'd ever expect.
Let's did this shit. No, I know I'm not dumb enough to lift those shades up because I got my flash on in here. They gonna catch my ass if they see. I ain't gonna lie to y'all though, it's mad cold in here. And it's dark. I mean, I know it doesn't look that dark on the camera, but it's dark. Let's go! Let's go! Right, sitting on the back of the plane. And y'all probably think I'm fucking insane. Probably think I'm doing this shit for fame.
As Tyler got more and more confident that he managed to board the plane without being detected, one of the seatbelts jumped to the side while he wasn't even close to it. Like any regular human, he quickly turned the corner to see if anyone else had boarded the air vehicle, but to his dismay, he found nobody. It's still unknown what caused the seatbelt to move, but even the most unbelieving people are convinced that this was the act of a ghost. I'm keen to hear what you guys think in the comments. On an unidentifiable evening, a security guard at his local store was working his night shift. Now, usually this was his favorite shift, because no one bothered him, and most of the time it didn't involve any action. However, all of this was about to change for the worst when he witnessed the craziest thing on the cameras. Take a look.
Just putting things away from the box. All right, now watch. I want you guys to focus on this area right here, okay? Hold on, let me speed this up a bit. All right, watch.
You have the doctrine right, and you stow it on a shelf in your closet, and do not pull that doctrine out.
Boom, you see that? I'll get back here for you guys to give you a better view. Look at that. And I'm just like tripping, like, what just happened? At first, I didn't know what the hell it was, but went to see that there's a box on the ground. I'm like, okay, it's weird. Now I'm going to look, you know, to see what's going on. It fell, okay, but pay attention to this area right here. Watch.
As he is showing the camera and what it captured, a banging noise could be heard behind him, and he started to become convinced that someone was in the building, despite the cameras not detecting a human yet. Curiously, he decided to wander around the store, and this time he experienced something outside of the screen.
Is that you? Look, I'm here by myself. Nobody's here. It's just me. See that? Come out. I'm not afraid of you. Is that you that threw down the box earlier? Come on out. You don't scare me. Come on out, pussy. Always trying to mess with me. Ooh! Oh, shit. No. Hell no. No. Let me see. Hold on. Where am I? I'm here. Where am I going? Look, there I am right there. Look, you see that? You see that? Nah. 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 Hell no.
At first, this clip is very hard to understand, but once you zoom in, you can see that the guard's hair was tucked. This was very odd, considering that the hair clearly didn't latch onto anything, meaning that a spirit must have decided to do this. Regardless of the cause, the security guard was completely rattled and vowed to never do a shift by himself again. Attics are notorious for being some of the most haunted rooms in houses, and there are countless clips backing up this claim. The upcoming video is one of these clips, and it gets very creepy, very fast. It was taken on September 17th of 2018 and features a father of two called Michael. He heard some suspicious noises coming from the attic and decided to investigate. This is what he discovered. Immediately after entering the attic, the noises started to intensify and items began moving on their own accord. Now that Michael had seen this firsthand, he was convinced it was a haunting rather than a squatter and barricaded the attic shut. Despite closing it though, the noises continued and he was forced to move out just a month later. The house is still listed as haunted to this day. On an October night nearing Halloween, this American family was planning what decorations and costumes they would use for a party they were going to host. They all came up with some great ideas, with some being themed around the supernatural. Little did they know that all of this was about to become real.
The bell.
Did you move the bells at all, Logan?
Huh?
Did you move the bells?
No. I heard the bells ring.
At around 9 p.m., they heard the bells outside their door ringing and assumed that someone was at their door like usual. The mother ran a small business and a lot of deliveries came to the house because of it, so this was a regular occurrence for the family. However, after reviewing the doorbell footage, it was far from normal. No one was there. The only possible explanation to this would be the wind, but that day had no wind throughout the evening. It's difficult to excuse this event as something from the normal world. The only safe option would be to blame a spirit. In the following video, a teenage boy named Braden was awake late at night whilst his parents were still fast asleep. He was scrolling through TikTok when he started to hear some pretty loud noises, but the way he reacted to these noises was beyond shocking. You could call it brave, or you could call it foolish, but that's for you to decide. Have a watch.
Wow, it's really bad right now. Okay, hold on.
Jesus. Okay, hold up. Why is the tree on right? Whatever that is coming from up here. Should I attempt to go in there? Fuck. Because that was coming, all that thumping, it was coming from like right in there, in that room.
Come up here for a sec, man.
What the fuck, bro? What the fuck was that? You guys, did I just hear that right?
Get up here now.
Okay. That I'm not fucking with. That I'm not fucking with. That I'm not fucking with, bro. That I'm not fucking with, bro. That I don't play around with. That I don't play around with.
As strange as it may have been, Braden heard his own voice aggressively telling him to come upstairs, to which he instinctively entered flight mode and ran for his life. The thing that made this very weird for Braden is that his parents didn't actually wake up to the loud beckon, leading him to believe that he and the camera were the only things experiencing the noise. It's common for mimics to imitate loved ones to tempt people into sinning, but this situation was very unique. The mimic mocked its own prey with seemingly no intentions, so it's safe to assume that it was a very dangerous spirit. Braden's parents still don't believe that anything happened that night, despite him being adamant, and he currently takes therapy sessions. They think he's crazy. In the following video, a caring mother of 2 was watching The Little Mermaid whilst waiting for her husband to come home with the children. They had all gone to McDonald's to bring home dinner, and she was eagerly awaiting her food as she was very hungry. However, just 7 minutes after the trio left the house, one of the worst sequences of events in the woman's life happened. She claimed afterwards that things got so spooky that she developed a new fear of being home alone, and after giving the clip a watch, you'll most certainly agree. As Ariel, the mermaid in the movie, started to sing while her voice was being stolen, items around the house started moving. The irony of this being paired with the evil movie scene made things much creepier for the mother, and she desperately tried to shut the television off, which for some reason didn't work at all. This carried on for 10 more minutes, until her family came back through the door and everything stopped. She showed them the video, and none of them could comprehend what happened that evening. In this spine-tingling video, captioned with things that happen at night in the office, a male employee was roaming around his workplace. It was very late, and he had only just finished catching up with what he missed out on during his holiday, so he was given the duty to lock up after himself. He was walking around making sure to close every door so that his boss didn't get angry the next morning when he caught something unexplainable. At first, his clients didn't believe what he saw, but fortunately, he captured video evidence and none of them knew what to do about it. Take a look.
¿Quién es?
Weirdly, the chair spun around by itself, and this called for the man to do a quick search of the area. For all he knew, someone else could have ran from under the desk, and there was a break, in which was the last thing he wanted. As odd as this may have been though, he found nothing. And neither did the cameras the next day. Similar to the last clip we looked at, this one involved a sole employee working late at night by themselves. In this specific recording, it was a factory worker who wasn't quite finished and was finalizing some box positionings to make it easy for the collectors in the morning. Despite making life easy for someone else though, something decided it was going to make his life hard, and nobody knows what to this day. Confused? Take a look and figure it out firsthand.
Lo único que tengo como apoyo pues es mi propia cámara para grabar, porque no hay nada que me pueda ayudar a demostrar que aquí hay algo, porque realmente sí lo hay. Sí lo hay. No quiero especular, pero es que cada vez esos golpes, esos sonidos ¡Ay, cabrón! ¡Ay, no mames, no mames! ¡Ay, cabrón! ¡Ay, güey! Tranquilo, tranquilo, todo está bien. Todo está bien, todo está en orden. No hay nada. No hay nada, no hay nada.
For some strange reason, one of the items used to transport boxes started spinning around in circles, and once the man realized what was happening, he was utterly terrified. He immediately ran around the factory to see if there could be any logical cause for it, but in the back of his mind, he knew it was a ghost. He was highly religious and believed in that kind of stuff, so it did make sense for him to succumb to it much quicker. It is safe to say that he prayed extra hard that night. Graveyards are considered to be the most haunted places on the planet, and it is very understandable why this is the case. They are places riddled with dead people and always carry an eerie feeling around them, paranormal or not. In the video you are about to see, a man called Darwin was dared by his friend group in a game of truth or dare to enter a graveyard at 3 a.m. and determined to not get embarrassed in front of his crush, he decided to follow through. He wouldn't have made such a decision if he knew what was going to happen next, though.
Video completo en página Espectros
¿Qué luz
Paranormales.
quieres? Quiero que te muevas. Tiene algo escondido. Uy. Ahí tiene algo escondido. En esa parte de ahí. En esa parte de ahí tiene algo escondido, amigos. Yo ahorita lo chequé. Dime qué luz quieres, solamente quiero saberlo. ¿Por qué quieres luz? ¿Qué es lo que te pasó? Dime qué es lo que te pasó. Ay, Dios, ay, Dios, ay, Dios, ay, Dios, ay, Dios, no manches, no manches, no manches. Lo vieron. No mames, pon 10, apágate. La madre, amigo, no manches, se acaba de mover eso enfrente. Ay, no mames, amigo, lo vieron.
Strangely, the stone piece turned 90 degrees to face Darwin, and for a brief moment he sat there completely stunned. It didn't take long for him to snap out of this confusion, though, and enter flight mode, terrified of a possible follow-up to such a bizarre event. He and his friends vowed to never venture near the graveyard again, and the ironic thing is that he went on to lose that game of truth or dare around later when he got dared to kiss someone in the group who wasn't the one he liked. Life is all fun and games until reality slaps you hard in the face, and this is what happened to Luis, a Mexican male who was having the time of his life. He had been out clubbing with tons of people and had a lot of fun with the women present. He had gotten ahead of himself despite having a girlfriend at home, and his friends further encouraged him to have some fun, explaining how she wouldn't find out. He pulled up at home in his car, and what happened next was crazy, but it's going to take some explaining to link it to him cheating, so hear me out.
Ya por fin en casita. ¿Qué haces ahí? Ay, a la mierda. No, madre, güey. ¿Qué, en serio? ¿Así es la cosa? Salgan. A ver, revisen si hay alguien por ahí.
Once he arrived home, an item in the garage moved by itself towards the car, almost as if it was trying to damage it. Louis stood there confused and not knowing what to do for a few seconds, until he opened a door and let his dogs into the room. They trotted in like nothing happened and greeted their father, but little did he know that their mother wasn't with them anymore. He went into the living room and called for his girlfriend, but received no response. All he found was a letter from the ambulance team to call a number. He did. Was the spirit taking action here his girlfriend, or was it a shock coincidence? Let me know what you think in the comments. On September the 20th of 2023, Olivia, a worker at her local cafe, was the only member of staff on site. This was because they had reached their low time where the expected customer rates were at 3 per hour. This was a very easy group of customers to tackle for a singular employee. At least it was on the surface, but the customers didn't turn out to be the problem.
Guys, I'm working by my fucking self, and I hear noise in the back. What the fuck, bro?
Out of nowhere, Olivia heard a banging noise from the storage room, and instead of going to face it, she checked the cameras first. Surprisingly, nothing looked misplaced or out of the ordinary. It would shortly, though. For some reason, objects in the room started moving by themselves, and Olivia was left utterly speechless as to why. Because of this confusion, she contacted her coworker, called Kelsey, who was on shift the next morning to investigate the interior, staff-only sections of the cafe. She searched for a good 2 minutes to see if she could find any evidence of a human or an animal living in the facilities. This is the footage from her search.
Hi guys, this is Bernice. Jocelyn didn't come this morning to work, but she wants me to give you a tour of the back rooms and the storage. So come on, let's go. Well, this is over here is where the incident happened, which was kind of crazy because when they told me last night, I was like, what the fuck? And obviously people saw another person, but I didn't see no one, and I don't even know how a person can fit in here, you know? So yeah, it's kind of weird. As you can see, nobody can hide in here, so it would be kind of weird seeing someone in here. So let's go upstairs. That's where like we be hearing all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's kind of scary up here, honestly. I don't like it. It gives creepy vibes. And this is your room. Hi, no puedo ver. But over here, like, this is just like place to chill. There's a bathroom. I don't know what the fuck that is. And yeah. So I think here is like where we hear most of this stuff. But I don't know. What do you guys think it might be? I don't know. I'm just new here. All I know is that when something happens to me, I'll be like, give me a raise. And like, I don't like these stairs too, because, man, like, I don't like them. Eesh. What do you guys think? What do you guys think might have happened? Ay, ay, ay. And yeah, so that's the tour. Comment if you want to see more.
Unsurprisingly, she found no one on her adventure and sent it back to Olivia for her to upload to TikTok. This wouldn't be the end of the sage, though. Once Kelsey completed her search and found no evidence, Olivia decided to raise the concern to her manager, who gave consent for a full camera check. The manager expected to find nothing and have the employees move on with their days, but something truly was caught, and everyone present was left speechless. This happened just as Kelsey left the room during her search, and they started to theorize that the ghost preferred acting when no one was present. To this day, the cafe occasionally captures weird stuff in the room, but at this point they've accepted that it is normality. Randonaut is an app used by many friend groups to go on cool adventures together. The basic concept of the app is to think of something you want to do. For example, go to the park, and it will take you to a random place nearby that satisfies that need. Clearly, these girls were in the mood for a dangerous adventure though, because where it took them was the definition of eerie.
Like they're doing a ritual. Dude, this is real. This is real. This is not a game. This is when we get murdered. Dude, this is not real. Dude, this is like real.
The noises sounded somewhat like a demonic ritual, and the girls decided to stick around and get a TikTok out of it. Unfortunately for us, they weren't brave enough to venture into the building and turned around in fear pretty quickly. What they managed to capture that day was still pretty creepy though. Home security became a bid craze a while back because house robberies were becoming more common day by day. From alarms to cameras, all the way to smoke systems, people were swarming to protect their houses, and the upcoming video was captured during this craze. The people who owned the house had recently added 4 cameras to their interior, as well as a zero vision in 10 seconds smoke system, which would trigger if a break-in happened whilst they were not home. Fortunately, in the years they have had these devices, they have never had to be used, at least not for burglaries. Somehow, a bunch of items started moving around the kitchen, not to mention the door supposedly moving off camera. The family claimed they could hear the banging faintly. With all the commotion, the smoke system actually activated, and it took them a good 2 hours to clear the room of it. The owner explained that it felt like being in a James Bond movie, cool, yet terrifying. A fact that I am constantly reinstating across my videos is that spirits love to possess dolls, and it still holds just as much truth. It is unknown why they enjoy taking control of these children's toys, but when they do, there is nothing more twisted and demented on the planet. Perhaps this is why. Regardless of what the answer to that question is though, the upcoming clip captured another piece of evidence that dolls are frequently the toys of the paranormal, and it has a very eerie feeling to it. Have a watch.
Ma, ese muñeco acaba de sonar solo y se está moviendo solo. ¡Movete, sapo perro! Ma. Mamá. Mamá. Se lo juro que yo no he activado nada. Mamá. Uy, quieto.
Strangely, the doll started to move without any human interaction and continued to do so even after the man pulled his mobile device out. It moved about for around 30 seconds in total, which was more than long enough to freak the man behind the camera out. He knew one thing for certain: his daughter was never touching that thing again. Tim Morozov, a decently sized YouTuber amassing a respectable 600,000 subscribers, is known for posting his ghostly adventures to his audience. From old hospitals to abandoned houses, it seems that Tim hasn't obtained the genes to feel fear, and the YouTube video you are about to see some clips from definitely promotes his features of bravery and boldness. It was 1 a.m. when he decided to explore an abandoned house for his fans to see if anything haunted would happen. Surprisingly, the house he selected for this video wasn't known to be haunted and was only abandoned due to how poorly built it was. Needn't anyone worry though, because Tim was about to prove that the former was true.
За шум. Там, по-моему, только одна вешалка была. Что сейчас за порыв энергии был такой?
When he reached this particular room, Tim explained that he felt the cold flooding his bloodstream, and it was one of the strongest feelings of paranormal presence he had ever felt. It was enough to make his hands visibly tremble, and he did not want to continue onwards. However, doing it for the fans, he approached the closet, and a carpet-like item came bursting out of it before flying around the entire house. Understandably, Tim had no clue what this was, and ran around the house trying to track it. Eventually, it came to a standstill, and he discovered it was a rug. This still didn't explain why it flew everywhere, and it is likely that such an answer will never be found. Jack knew that his house was haunted. He just had that feeling about it, not to mention the fact that he would put an item somewhere and the next day it would be in a totally different room. He had spent days trying to prove his point to his wife that the house was far beyond return, but no matter what he explained to her, she would not believe him. He knew what he needed to get her on his side: concrete evidence. His mission was to go into his son's room and try to videotape as much activity as humanly possible. Why he chose his son's room, I don't know, but I won't question this decision because it did wonders. Whilst he was standing there, the drawer somehow took it upon itself to open, and this stumped the poor bloke. He tried to stay silent in case he disturbed, or even worse, fed the ghost with his fear, and in fairness, this method did work. Nothing too dangerous happened, and the only other event was that the curtains were waving very unnaturally. He showed this footage to his wife of 10 years, who word for word told him to stick his evidence in the trash, and that he obviously made all of this happen. Who do you think was right in this situation? Let me know in the comments. Roland With Me is a YouTube channel that we have discussed many times in my videos, and his paranormal footage never fails to disappoint. He is full-time in the spiritual industry and hoes all across the states, trying to discover all sorts of entities. It's no surprise that he carried most of them back to his beautiful house in the south, which in result has been haunted for 3 years. The upcoming clip was recorded within his 4 walls, and one of the main comments I get when I feature Roland is that he clearly isn't scared, so his content must be fake. This man has been through a ton of spiritual sightings, so it takes a ton to strike fear into him. Keep that in mind.
What in the hell? Alright. That drawer and that cabinet door, those were not open. Alright, who opened this? Is there a spirit here that left this cabinet door open? Can you please... Oh, look, there it goes. It's shut. Alright. Apparently, somebody just shut that cabinet. You left the drawer open. Can you please shut the drawer? You left it open right there. Please shut the drawer. You still left the drawer open. Can you please shut the drawer? And stop opening things in here. Up, there it goes. All right. I see you close the drawer in the cabinets. Something was coming from the ceiling. Is there a spirit in here that just did something in the ceiling? Something up in there. That ceiling there. What the hell? I know there's no way anybody could fit in there, right? There's no way anybody can hide in there.
As weird as this may have been, the spirit listened to Roland, which was a very rare occurrence, especially house ghosts. They tend to cause as much havoc as possible and wouldn't listen for their life back. This case was different, and he had no idea why, despite being a top-tier expert on the matter. He uploaded this footage to his YouTube, along with a saga of other captures, all in one video. His comment section were just as confused, let alone his devoted subscribers. The father of this girl had tragically passed away, trying to save people from a fire, and the town commemorated him well. He was just a regular firefighter. He got paid regular wages, and he lived a regular life. It was very unfortunate to see him pass away so young. As a gift from the father's wife to their daughter, she gave her a stuffed teddy bear, wearing the same clothes her father used to call his favorite outfit. As the icing on the cake, she also got the man to speak into the bear so that when cuddled, it would play his message. It made both of them cry every time it triggered, and it truly was a heartwarming gift. However, even the most blessed items can descend to paranormal activity, and the clip you are about to witness is one of these moments. While not negative, it was definitely enough to spook the girl. Have a watch.
I just missed a call from my dad. He's been gone. Like, I just heard his voice one more time.
I don't know whether this was fortunate or unfortunate for the girl, because this moment had both its positives and negatives. On the positive side, she was given reassurance that her father was safe and in heaven, but on the flip side, this must have set her back a good week on recovering from her loss. It also stopped her from sleeping for the entire night, which is never a good thing. The next day, she had a brilliant day though, which you can't complain about. The same cannot be said about the evening though, because the spirit made a second appearance and the girl started to have second thoughts on whether or not it was actually her father. Strangely, the doors started to open and close like we have seen many spirits do, but the girl claimed that she felt a sort of dark feeling in the room. This feeling made her adamant that she was encountering an evil spirit, rather than that of her father, but I guess we will never be too sure. On November 12th of last year, a family were gathering in their parents' bedroom for a lecture on eating the food too quickly when something very strange happened. You see, the family owned a cat, but it was on the bed with them at the time of the gathering, so whatever they were about to see could not have belonged to them. With that knowledge in mind, this upcoming piece of footage becomes very odd.
Bruja real se convierte en gato.
Hay algo allá afuera. Que estamos viéndolo. ¿Quién eres? Tú no eres un gato. ¿Qué pasó? ¡Ay, qué es eso! Vete de aquí, ¿quién eres? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Quién eres? Te estoy grabando, ¿quién eres? ¿Por qué estás aquí en mi casa? Tú no eres un gato. Tú no eres un gato. Te ordeno que te vayas de mi casa. ¡Ay! No manches. No manches. ¿Qué es eso, Regina? Se abrió la puerta. Se abrió la puerta. Se abrió la puerta. ¡Ay, güey! Se me abrió la puerta. Vámonos, 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 vámonos.
Experts believe that this cat was a skinwalker, and this made sense considering the fact it somehow understood what the humans were saying. They continuously questioned the cat, and it almost spoke back to them, like it knew what they were saying. When they went to get a closer look, it ran and jumped out of the window, vanishing in the air. In the following video, Celsa, a married woman, was home alone, waiting for her significant other to come home, when a very strange sequence of events decided to happen out of nowhere. These events were so weird that Celsa was left scared every time she was home by herself in the future and held this as a lifelong trauma. Now you may think she was exaggerating and that nothing except a tragedy could keep someone that scarred, but that's a very deluded way of thinking. Take a look.
Okay, I've been hearing noises. It's okay, it's okay. Shh, sit down. You scared? Hang on. Sometimes I'm hearing noises. Sometimes things get thrown off the counter. I just want to make sure that you see nothing because this is really creepy. I'm so over it. Come on, John, hurry up and get home. Oh, 'cause I don't want to Can you stop, please? Sometimes things get thrown off the counter. Sometimes the water gets turned on. It's really creepy. Who's it, Lucy? Who is it? I'm probably gonna go live as soon as John gets home so that I'm not scared while I'm recording. I don't want to touch it. That's just the cat box. Yeah, I'm gonna go live as soon as John gets here because I'm creeped out.
At first, she could hear noises coming from the kitchen, which made her and the dog look uncomfortable in the presence of it. After buckling up some courage, though, Celsa went into the kitchen and found the drawers moving by themselves, not the sight she would have wished to see in this situation. She panickingly closed them and beckoned for her husband to hurry his way home. It was a long wait, and we weren't updated on what happened next. While most spirits are discreet about their actions, others tend to be very out there, and that can definitely be said about the spirit in the next clip. Sufyan was working in a factory in the middle of the day, and this was deemed by him to be his most boring shift week. Barely anything went on during Tuesdays, and the shift consisted of sitting around call. However, the one-off incident in the following video was far. I'm sure the employee would have still preferred the boring time though. Clip. Somehow, the ladder started walking off almost like a dog as its four legs moved in the motion that the domestic animals would do. This was very creepy, as it should have been impossible for a person. If there is one thing you have learned from this channel though, it is that when the paranormal gets involved, the impossible becomes more than possible. Being in a haunted location is one of the most terrifying places you can find yourself in, and it's very obvious why. You can't even see what's haunting you. However, there are two ways you can be haunted, and the magnitude of fear varies a lot depending on this. First of all, you can be haunted in a building that does not belong to you. This is a much less scary experience because you can leave at any point and avoid the spirits for the rest of your life. On the other hand, you can be haunted in your own four walls, and this fear is incomprehensible. It is a long process to escape a haunting like this, and it makes you feel unsafe in your own home, which is one of the worst feelings on the planet. In the video you're about to see, a couple were in their own house when a spirit decided it was time to shine. An important mental note to make is that the couple had never experienced anything paranormal before, and this experience was very out of the blue. Take a look.
Okay, guys, my lights have been flickering for like 2 minutes. We heard a baby crying, and now they won't stop. 2 of the lights blew out. It's... What?
I think I just seen a shadow.
Where? Yo, I think I just literally seen the remote fall. Oh my god. I don't know what to do. I don't want to even move from over here. This is insane. Did you catch it on camera? Is anyone there? The TV's on. The blue light's on. Okay, this is great. What is happening? Hello? Hello? The other lamp just went off down there. Hello? Okay guys, I just caught the video because something literally rolled out of the dark in front of me, and my mom and I still haven't gone down there, so we're just staying in the flickering kitchen.
For a first paranormal experience, this one was of a very high magnitude. From moving objects to flickering lights all the way to device control, the spirit that this innocent couple encountered was extremely active for some reason. After about an hour of constant stress, though everything stopped almost instantly, they are still left wondering why this all happened to date. The following experiment was conducted on September 16th of 2018 and had a lot of meaning to the man doing it. His name was Carl Williams, and he had spent the past 3 months constantly being haunted no matter where he decided to visit, from his home to the park, all the way to his workplace. Paranormal activity seemed to follow him wherever he went, but he never actually decided to get some evidence. Carl believed that filming the ghost would give it too much attention and cause it to mess with him even more. But on September 16th, he knew he had nothing to lose. The test was pretty simple. Carl would place a variety of different objects on the floor and ask the ghost to move them on camera for proof of its existence, and the results were extremely shocking.
Because of the success of yesterday's little object test, I decided I'm going to give this object placement thing another try. I have tried a few items already, before I got the camera out. I was just having a little play. I got a few twitches out of a candle. This one here, this moved around a little bit. Nothing as dramatic as the ball or anything like that. The remote, I'm unsure about. I thought I saw it move, but I wasn't recording or anything, so I can't really verify it. So I'm going to try them both again and just see what we capture. Really, same situation as before. I'm on my own, and I'll try to stay in camera so you know it's not me. Right, we'll start with the candle first, and basically just put this down here. Okay, if there is anything here, can you please move the candle for me? Anything at all, please move the candle. No, that's strange. I thought that wouldn't work.
Despite the experiment sounding promising in Carl's head, nothing happened, and he was left stunned sitting on the floor. However, as I explained earlier, he had a variety of items to test out, and it would be the second one where he got his evidence delivered.
Okay. Wasn't sure about this one, but I'll give it a go. If there's anything in this... No. See that? There's no strings attached. That one was different. The things that it's shifted it before, but it's never just thrown it like that. Yeah, it's weird.
Without even asking the spirit to move the remote, it understood the assignment and launched it. This startled Carl because he claimed that it didn't usually move things in that kind of manner and was ordinarily chill and slid things. Maybe he was right all along. Perhaps filming the ghost did fuel it to new heights. Let me know what you think in the comments. In the upcoming video, YouTube channel Ghostek Paranormal Investigations were making one of their videos, and based on their name, you should be able to guess what this video was. The crew were investigating yet another haunted location. The place in this video was an old location called the Viaduct Tavern and was known for having some of the most poltergeist activity in England. It was a still occupied pub that the YouTube channel paid to have access to for the day, and after they left, they had so much spiritual evidence that the owner was forced to sell the place. Here I'm going to show you one of the unexplainable events that happened on that day, and if you don't believe in ghosts now, you most definitely will afterwards.
Did you hear that? It was like a door moved. Hello? The sound of a door moves from somewhere nearby. Here is the enhanced audio taken from Static Cam 3 covering the hallway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Strangely, the group heard the noise of a door opening upstairs, followed by some heavy footsteps. The weird thing was that they were the only people in the building and they had cameras set up to prove that no one was in the corridor where this happened. Do you buy that this capture was real? I most certainly do, but I'm willing to be turned away from my beliefs in the comments. On March 5th, during an unknown year, a family of 4 were fast asleep at night when they were disturbed by the youngest member screaming. She was called Layla and struggled to fall asleep, so decided to have one last play with her dolls before rolling into a slumber. However, something under her bed had a much more different idea to get her tired. You know the saying of monsters being under the bed. Well, this clip perfectly resembles that saying, and next time you hear someone say they have them, you'll have to think twice before calling them out for being crazy.
Sure, I'll play with you. Go let you play. Yeah. Bling, bling, bling. Bling, bling, bling. Bling, yum, doo, doo.
Almost like a lure, the girl's singing doll started playing music, and Layla got scared that it would wake her parents up too early. She sneakily climbed out of her bed and tiptoed under her bed, but when she went in head first, something grabbed her. Fortunately, her mother came to save the day. Like any normal and functioning human being, she brought the daughter out and locked the room closed for 2 whole days. However, after a bit of peer pressure, she decided to take her first look under the bed and regretted it dearly.
So I've been getting a lot of questions. People have been asking me, have you been in the room? Have you guys looked under the bed? No, we haven't. We haven't been in the room in the last 2 days. We've been a little scared. Be this scary right now. Oh my god.
As weird as this may have been, the doll moved by its own accord when she looked under the bed, and understandably, the mother dashed back outside and locked the door. Since then, the door has stayed locked, and the family are always in fear that it could escape one day. They are constantly thinking of how to trash it, whilst making sure it doesn't find its way back. Babies are the most innocent people on the planet, and it always hurts to see them being involved in these paranormal videos. They don't deserve it, and are too young to understand what is actually going on, which isn't acceptable in the slightest. The video you are about to witness is one where a poltergeist messes with a baby, and it is really upsetting, so beware. Out of nowhere, the sound of blowing could be heard, and the baby's hair moved. What happened here is definitely up for speculation, but I'm certain it was the act of a ghost. Edward, a strong believer in the paranormal world, had been experiencing paranormal activities for the past few months. Eventually, he had enough of the repetitive disruptions and decided to keep track of them through using a YouTube channel. Here he would upload his documentations, whether that be first-hand phone footage or stuff from the security, and gather a binder of evidence for his local church, of which he wished to inform of the incidents. Here is one of the pieces of footage his cameras managed to capture.
Sunday the 19th of July.
Strangely, this ghost was extremely energetic and did things at an extraordinarily fast rate. It threw all sorts of items to the ground, including cutlery, which is dangerous considering Edward had a dog which would know no better than to stand on a fork or something silly like that. Edward brought this video to his local church in hopes that they would bless the household of any evil entities, and they happily did so. It is unknown whether or not this was a success or not. In the following video, an electric company came to visit a house that was being sold to new owners. They were paid to check up and fix any issues with the electricity, and their pay would fluctuate based on how many problems they actually ended up finding. During their stay, they discovered 4 electrical issues and got them fixed for the current owner. But there was one problem that could not be changed, no matter who was hired to make an impact. There was a paranormal entity present. For some strange reason, the ladder continued to move on its own accord and creeped away from the location that it was initially set in. This, for more than obvious reasons, freaked out the electrician in the room, who went on to show his clients the footage, and then the boss reported it to the owner. They negotiated a $50 pay rise for the inconvenience and finished the tasks on the day. The house was eventually sold to a new family, but little did they know what they were in store for. Children's toys are some of the most wholesome objects on the planet, designed to make little ones smile. They come in all sorts of forms, from dolls to cars, all the way to smaller instrument variations, so it's safe to say that there is a toy for every child imaginable. However, there is one instance that these toys become some of the most demented and uncomfortable things known to man, and the upcoming video is an example of this. Out of nowhere, once the man entered the room, the toy car jolted to the side, which made no sense considering it was not designed to move. Even if it was, he revealed that it had no batteries inside it, which also made the voice it made impossible. The toy was doing far too much that it shouldn't have been able to, so the father immediately pinned down the cause to being a paranormal entity. Was he correct? I guess we'll never know, but what we do know is that the toy truck is long gone. In a recent video on this channel, we explored the household of Letitia, a young French woman who had been experiencing a surge of paranormal activity out of nowhere. This paranormal activity led her to discover a key which opened up the basement of which the previous owner stated they lost the keys for it. Regardless of whether they lied or genuinely thought that the keys were missing, Letitia ventured into the basement to see what was up with it, and it had a very odd feeling to it. It actually used to be an air raid shelter during the Second World War, and an unfortunate amount of people passed away in there. This perfectly explained the weird aura to it. After exploring, Letitia vowed to never enter the basement again and relocked it. She did keep the keys though, but there was one thing she didn't choose to keep, her vow.
C'est bon, je vais enlever l'échelle pour plus qu'il y ait des gens qui rentrent chez moi.
Oh là là, ça fait trop peur. C'est par ici qu'ils doivent rentrer. J'ai des squatteurs chez moi, genre les squatteurs qui rentrent par ici.
Ah, c'est bon.
Donc maintenant les squatteurs ils vont plus jamais rentrer. J'espère que c'est fini cette histoire, genre... Donc je ferme et je récupère la clé. Je reviendrai plus jamais ici. Normalement il n'y aura plus de squatteurs. Parce que là, je crois que j'ai jamais vécu ça de ma vie. C'est bon. La maison date de 1970. Franchement, c'est grave. J'ai trop envie de rentrer chez moi. Je fais que des cauchemars depuis que je suis ici. Regardez la tête des tableaux. Regardez à quel point ça fait flipper. J'ai remarqué il n'y a pas longtemps qu'il y a une empreinte ici. Là, on la voit bien. On la voit bien, regardez. Regardez.
Just 3 days after making her vow to never visit the basement again, she was down there, and this time she gave a more thorough search. In case you didn't watch the last video with Letitia featured, the first time she tried to enter, some kind of force pushed the door shut against her, so she was confident that someone was down there. Despite this confidence though, this search did nothing, and she walked back inside, confused with her confusion only being amplified from that point. Weirdly, some music started to play from the radio, and this made zero sense, because Letitia lived home alone. Unless her house had been burgled, it must have been a ghost that activated it. No one was in there. She had clearly released the spirits from the basement into the houser, and this scenario wasn't the only time that this became evident. On September 10th, 24 hours after the music played, Letitia was fixing something when some clutter could be heard from the kitchen. You know she had to go and investigate it, so she did, but what she came across was far from anything she could have ever dreamt of.
Je vais m'enfermer dans ma chambre. Oh la vache. De toute façon, tout ça c'est fini. En septembre, je rentre enfin chez moi. Je vous jure. il y a la spatule qui est tombée par terre, genre, on est où?
Immediately after hearing the bang, she went into the kitchen and found that her spatula had somehow collapsed onto the floor. As well as this, many other objects chose to move in front of her very eyes, leaving her kitchen a mess. When an item fell from the cupboard, Letitia was sent running back to her bedroom in fear before locking the door closed. If the other events weren't enough to convince Letitia her house was haunted, this one definitely did, and she decided that it was time to take action on the spirits. She watched some YouTube tutorials on how to combat certain ghost types, and one came up for war ghosts, which she assumed these ones were. She listened to what it had to say.
Je suis retournée dans la maison hantée et on va essayer d'enlever les esprits qu'il y a dedans, donc j'ai pris de la sauge, du sel. J'ai entendu du bruit. On va faire brûler la sauge, les gars, on va faire brûler la sauge. C'est bon. Les gars. Mon cœur, il bat à 3000. Écoutez mon cœur. Les gars, vous entendez mon cœur?
A shadow figure could be seen if you paid close attention to the glimpse of light by the door. It appeared to peek around the doorway at Letitia before slowly easing away once she turned in its direction. Fortunately, she missed out. This was the last video on the topic uploaded by the woman, although she did make a vow to continue updating us. If we've learned one thing about her from this story though, she doesn't keep vows, and it doesn't usually leave her in a good place. Marcus was searching an old sports stadium when he heard some repetitive banging coming from the changing rooms. The stadium was supposed to have nobody else present since it was no longer being used, but Marcus and his group really started to question this fact when this happened to them.
Bueno, ya son como las 11 de la noche y la tercera vez que estoy escuchando este ruido de mierda. No sé qué está pasando, pero lo quiero grabar ahora para que después me crea la gente, porque esto nunca me pasó y nada, lo quería grabar, qué sé yo, estoy podrido, la concha de la lora. Digo, mi linterna, no sé para qué mierda la traje. Dios, puta que te parió. Puta que te parió. Concha de la lora. La concha de la lora. Pero como mierda puede ser que no haya nada hoy. Ya es la tercera vez. Tercera vez que entro y no hay nada. Dios, me quiero ir. Me quiero ir.
Randomly, they started to hear banging noises coming from the ground floor, and staying cautious, they ventured into the unknown. They came across a wooden door, and to their confusion, it was opening and closing itself repetitively. This was something that none of them could explain. Instinctively, they walked into the room to find out what on earth was going on, and found nothing. Surprisingly, the stadium had no background lore which could point into the direction of paranormal activity. Such an event was completely out of the blue and still goes unexplained to this day. The piece of footage you are about to see was captured using a vehicle's dashcam and was very fortunate to have been caught. The incident lasted a singular second, so it was the definition of blink, and you miss it. Luckily for us, cameras don't blink. It was 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night, and a man who had just finished work was driving home. His drive home was the most eventless time of the day, but he enjoyed it for that very reason. The lack of cars on the roads meant that he could drive a lot faster than usual and get away with it. The true dream of every driver. However, despite the smooth roads, there was something present that nobody on scene would have expected. Take a look.
She can go meet up with him and see if she can get him to confess. And it's a tough decision, I'm sure, but Amy ultimately agrees. She wears the wire, and she picks up Chuck, and she asks.
Early on in the clip, the faded figure of a human crossing the road could be seen, which was very clearly not a real person. If it was, then a car would have hit them. Which one didn't? This was very clearly a spirit having some late-night fun. Some of you are likely not convinced yet though, and I don't blame you. The amount of false sightings on this website are abundant, and you can't trust anything or anyone. Don't worry, this time we found some extra evidence.
So this is a follow-up video on my last TikTok, the one right before this, about the paranormal sighting that I seen. Just for people that are a little leery, thinking it was a person and not that it was some paranormal, some figure, some something. This just kind of adds into it that it probably is some type of paranormal thing. I had another driver reach out to me after I posted it on Facebook that he was going through there about 20 minutes before I did with another driver right behind him, and they seen the same thing as I did, but they just didn't catch it on camera. And today, at the same time as we went through there was a car accident, multiple cars. 2 people ended up dying. 2 people went to the hospital. Well, the 2 people that went to the hospital they gave a statement that they seen a white figure in the road, and that's why the one car swerved into the other car. And this was around the same exact time, but 1 day later than when I seen it and he seen it. And his brother's a state trooper and told him this. So I'm sure we'll be able to get these statements at some point in the future. But this just adds on to, this might be real. This might not be somebody just walking in the road, because they said they tried to pull the cameras from the interstate and there was nobody walking in the road at that time. So you guys go ahead and pause and read that. Tell me this shit don't make sense. Tell me this don't make sense. If anybody knows anything else about this, it was on Illinois, Highway 57 going northbound right after the 340, right in Markham, Illinois. Right after the 340 is where this happened. 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. So y'all tell me if you know anything about any of this, or comment whatever you guys think about it, but it just keeps getting crazier and crazier.
The night after that incident, the faded spirit had another sighting, and this time around it caused an entire crash. I'm not going to reinstate what the man said since he already explained the situation, but what I will say is that you are crazy if that wasn't enough evidence for you to believe this scenario happened.